we're here back again on a Monday. Happy Memorial Day, faithful. It's your boy, the coach, here on the Coach's Huddle, and it's cover two by way of the coach and Jesse Naylor coming out of Last Second Sports. How are you doing, Jesse?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. A great weekend, long weekend. It was beautiful. I can't complain, man. What about you? You
Dude,
doing good?
the weekend was awesome, man. Cooked out, you know what I'm saying? Got some burgers. Went over a friend's house, man. Got a mean brisket going, you
A
know.
mean brisket. Dang, that's intense.
Yeah, man. Had some good times, man. Memorial Day's out. Summer's coming. We're in the full throes of the spring. And we've got OTAs coming up. The 49ers have just rounded off what seemingly seems like a stable offseason, right? Sobering offseason. We can go through all of the hot hits of what has happened, but let's just go ahead and we're not going to bury the lead. Let's start with what is the hottest topic right now, which is Brock Purdy's 5-year, $256 million contract. Now we already know the deets. We understand how it lays out on the salary cap, and I think we're in consensus that we like the deal. Right? It's kind of like for lack of a better term, perfect scenario deal that we have. But let's kind of go back into what it was like before the contract, where I think that this is very apt for you because there are some, and I think you kind of championed this narrative in a sense that we will know where Brock Purdy is once he gets paid. When Brock Purdy gets paid, then we'll know how to assess him, how to judge him fairly as a starting quarterback with the requisite money that he's making. And once that happens, then I'll be in on how to rank Brock shrewdly, right, against his contemporaries, right? Kind of the trainer wheels are off. He's off his rookie deal, and he'll get assessed with, basically full candor. Do you think that Brock Purdy can live up to his contract? Now that you know what he's getting paid and that it's team friendly, do you think the contract is bigger than Brock, or is Brock bigger than the contract?
Well, what I like about this is the timing of it, right? Like you had sent me this topic like an hour ago, and I was trying to think through like how to navigate it. And then right before we go live, freaking TJ Hushmanzada, he had said this earlier, but somebody had like retweeted it and it caught my eye that
Mm-hmm.
TJ Hushmanzada said, hey, something along the lines of Brock Purdy's overpaid. And unless he wins a Super Bowl, then he's always going to be overpaid. I was like, wow, that's pretty harsh because I don't view it that way at all, coach. The way that I see it is with the contract being what it is, it's very reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that as long as the 49ers can remain competitive, continue to make the playoffs, and he's not like the reason that they're losing these games, I think
Mm-hmm.
most people are going to be happy. And I'll be fine with that as well. I mean, it doesn't mean that at the end of each year I won't be evaluating, or the 49ers shouldn't be evaluating and potentially seeing if there's a way that they can move on if there's an upgrade available to them. But this contract is not at all handcuffing the 49ers at all.
Mm-hmm.
This contract is not going to be the reason that they don't win a Super Bowl or they can't continue to win games in the future. This contract is very favorable for them. It's also great for Brock because he's able to get his money as well. But
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, we saw this team win when it was stacked around Brock. We
Right.
even saw this team win when it was stacked around Jimmy Garoppolo. So as long as Brock Purdy can just continue to be the player that he's been and the 49ers can rebuild this thing, I think most people are going to be fine with the contract. Now, I definitely do acknowledge that there are going to be people out there that may hold him to a higher standard now, where if he has a bad game, they'll be like, oh, there's a $53 million quarterback, huh? Or there might be fans of other teams that, that say things like that. But I think the people that are intelligent enough to know exactly what this contract is and what it is not, as long as he plays well enough for this team to compete for playoff spots, and once they're in the playoffs isn't the reason they're losing, I think he's living up to the contract expectations for me personally.
I agree. For me, I was gonna, kind of throw a monkey wrench at this topic and say, hey, can Brock Purdy live up to the new contract? In a sense, he doesn't have to. Right now, this is the money that Brock Purdy is getting paid, juxtaposed to his actual cap number. We are right where he needs to be for us to still put people around him for him to succeed. I think that the conversation stays the same. He got paid still in the ire of, hey, nobody can say the argument. This is what I love about this contract too. This completely kills we mortgaged our future for Brock Purdy. There's no way in the world that we can get a team around him now for us to be able to be successful and for us to be competitive. What this really does is that this puts the conversation exactly where it always should be. Kyle Shanahan. This contract has taken Brock out of kind of like the blame game. You can't scapegoat him anymore. He's getting paid for what he deserves, what he did for us, and they have more than enough room to go out and be a successful team. Because I know this is going to come during the year. Oh my God, and this is why you don't pay him all of that money, because we don't have anything. We don't have an offensive line. No. Brock Purdy getting paid has nothing to do why we don't have an offensive line. All right. When we're looking at, oh man, CMC is the only back we have. We could have win it. No. Brock Purdy, all right, is not the reason why. So I love the fact that this contract, it puts him exactly where he needs to be. This also kind of puts a finger in the eye of a lot of the conversations about Brock, where I really believed, I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit. I believed that Brock was going to be favorable at the negotiation table. I really did. I didn't think that he was going to come in and kind of throw his weight around and say that I want this money. I believe that all of that conversation was coming out earlier on when his agent, I believe it came from his agent, allegedly. I don't want to speak in absolutes, but from his side, there were numbers in the $60 million range of what he wanted, and it didn't make sense, So I think that the way he negotiated with the contract, how the contract laid out, now that we've seen the particulars of how the contract is on the cap, I don't think that there is really a conversation of Brock Purdy having to live up to the contract. I don't think that that's there. What do you think?
I mean, he's gonna have to live up to it. He can't just go out there and lay an egg. I mean, if this season and next season look like last season, then people are gonna be pissed, and they should be pissed. Brock Purdy's gonna have to continue to raise his game, level his game, and improve. I mean, I think that's the biggest argument with Brock, or people that are like, well, it's not like Brock's a finished product, and he's not. I mean, we're talking about a 25-year-old player, 26-year-old player that should grow and should get better. I mean, physically things aren't going to change, but that doesn't mean that you don't become a better processor, or you can't be more accurate or make better decisions. I mean, those things should continue to improve. And so if he stays flat or looks like he did last year, I think that we can't just be like, oh, well, the contract's good, so he can just play however bad he wants. No, that doesn't fly either. He has to be top 12, top 14. And as long as he continues to do that, I mean, that's where the pay's at. I mean, that's basically how he's getting paid. So just go out and do what you have to do. Now, the expectations aren't near as heavy as what they were, I don't know, a week ago when people were freaking out. Oh my God, he's getting $53 million a year. How are they going to build the team and this and that? Before the details came out, a lot of people were talking like that. They're not that steep of an expectation, but there's still some expectations here.
All right, so this is a real conversation now, because when you say I expect him to play like the 12th to 14th best quarterback in the NFL, that ain't top 10. So
No.
what you do understand is that, all right, I guess the question for you is, how do you differentiate growth and development that you need to see from Brock Purdy, or things that you just that you're going to live, the things that you just have to live with Brock? Because there's going to be people that, because they don't like this deal, they're going to gaslight every mistake he makes, right? They're going to say, this is why you don't pay him, right? He can't throw the long ball. This is why you don't pay him. However, we already knew that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, make the difference for me, right? Make that difference. What do you expect to see from Brock that elevates his play for what he's getting paid now? And what do you expect to see from Brock that you're willing to live with? Because he is the 12th to 14th best quarterback in the NFL in your eyes. Because you can't have your cake and eat it too, right?
No, I think the biggest thing for him is that he just when the team elevates, he has to elevate with it. He can't be the reason. He can't be the reason that they lose games.
Okay.
And for the most part, 2 years ago, I mean, he was a big part of why they were winning. But last year, people love to skirt past last year as if it just is non-existent or didn't happen. He had the ball in hand and could have called game in 5 or 6 of those games and didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He called game for the other team. So he can't be that guy. Just don't be the reason that you guys lose games. The Super Bowl is a great example of this. If the rest of Brock Purdy's career plays out the way that he played in that Super Bowl for the most part, which is, hey, he wasn't the reason that they would have won that Super Bowl if they had, but he certainly was not at all the reason they lost it. I don't think anybody left that Super Bowl going, man, if Brock Purdy had stepped his game up, then they would have won that Super Bowl. It was like, well, Christian McCaffrey fumbled, and Trent Williams had 2 stupid penalties, and
Mm-hmm.
we had the High George moment and the defense and this. Brock Purdy did what was expected of him. That is the same expectation that I have for him now, which is, do not be the reason that you guys screw it up. And just protect the ball at a higher level. This stupid YOLO, throwing it downfield into double coverage, not seeing where you're throwing, all that has to get cleaned up. But I'm never gonna expect that now Brock Purdy gets paid a lot of money, so he has a top 5 arm. No, that's not. That would be a crazy expectation. So just you can't be the reason that your team loses, and that's where he's being paid. Right now, he's not being paid to be the guy that carries a team. I know that that's going to be the expectation for a lot of people, which is, oh, you're paid now, so you better carry. He's not being paid to carry. That's not what those salary cap hits say to me. Those salary cap hits say, hey, we're not quite sure. We're going to give you some guaranteed money. Go out there and just continue to play sound football and make good decisions. That's what I want to see from Brock Purdy.
All right, so let's get to it. Now that the deal is done, all right, we're going to stay on this topic for a little while because I have some questions for you, because I know quarterbacks is what you do. So, all right, so one thing that I need to see right now is that, all right, Brock is getting paid as the 12th to 14th best quarterback in the league. All right, at what point are we going to realize that this was a brother-in-law agreement? Right? Quarterbacks who believe that they are top 10 in the league don't acquiesce to these type of deals. They don't do this, right? So we have to believe that there's a part of Brock and his contingency that understands that we fell exactly where we needed to be because we knew that we weren't going to get Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson money. We knew we weren't going to get Patrick Mahomes money.
Of course.
So in a sense, if we're having a real conversation, Brock knows that he's not elite, which is fine for where he is in his career. My question is, are we assessing Brock as a young quarterback who is supposed to be hitting a ceiling? Are we going to be assessing Brock for him to be at his level best, which is 2023, and say, listen, when you're clipping, we'll get that. At best, don't lose the game for us. What are we really saying? And if we are saying that, the reason why I kept Mr. Joe's comment up here, and if we are saying that, are there some people that are excited about this deal because they know that Brock it was a great team deal, but two things can be right at the same time. This looks like a a bridge quarterback deal, not a quarterback that they believe is going to be their force contributor. It's going to be, they're not, this money, the way this money is rolled out, the fact that they have outs at all 3 years, he's front loaded the contract. Nothing about this deal says that, hey man, we had to pay him this money because it's just Brock. We're not going to lose him. A lot about this deal said that they understood exactly where he relied. So is he a bridge, or are you going to be assessing him as the quarterback of the future?
I mean, I think that he's going to have to bear that out and prove that over the next couple of years. I mean, I'll give you an example. I think uh, when Baker Mayfield signed his deal with the Buccaneers,
Mm-hmm.
that was a bridge quarterback contract. I mean, it was laid out different, but that was a bridge quarterback contract. I think Baker's proven enough to the Bucks that he's probably their guy, and he's going to get himself a pretty dang hefty deal and expected to be the guy going forward. I think with Brock Purdy, there's so many questions because you had the one really good year and a half a good season, and then you had a not so good year. And I think the 49ers are going to try to figure that out. Now, I think if Brock Purdy continued to play and it looked like it did last year, where he struggles when things aren't great around him and he continued to make the same silly mistakes after, the next 2 years, if they didn't find a way to get out of that contract, I think that would be a mistake, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's the beauty of this contract is it truly allows them to assess him for another 2 seasons, maybe 3 if they need it, and
Mm-hmm.
figure out what they think he is. Maybe at the end of this, they do think he was the bridge, and then they go find his replacement and they move on from him. Or maybe they're like, you know what? No, no, no. He's the guy. We weren't quite
Mm-hmm.
sure before, but now we know he's the guy. Let's move this money back. Let's rework this deal and keep this thing cracking. So to me, I think that we just have to assess him as it comes. I think we're truly in a period where we're still assessing, and we can't
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, he's this or he's that. We'll find out. We'll all find out together. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think again, if he doesn't end up being that guy that people hope he is, it also doesn't make him a disappointment. It's not like he's getting paid so much money that they can't overcome him being a top
Mid.
12, 14 quarterback or a mid
Right.
quarterback. They can. They can. They
Yeah.
absolutely can. They can win with that. They did it with Jimmy. Jimmy
Mm-hmm.
was the definition of mid, man. He
He
was
was mid.
slightly worse than mid. All right. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you can win with this contract. It's not a crippling contract whatsoever. And while we're all figuring it out together, then the 49ers can continue to win. And they have proven that. Brock has proven that. As long as the roster's elite around him, they can win football games, and he can be a big reason as to why they win football games. When the roster hasn't been elite around him, he makes some stupid mistakes that really show up on tape. And we'll see what he truly is when even keel roster bears out.
Hey man, I love it. I think that what this deal really does is that it's more of a wait and see. It gives us more time, but not in a kick the can down, not in a kick the can type of sense, but
Yep.
it gives us more equity to not only see what Brock can do, but be able to make decisions literally year by year. So I love it. Let's get into our next topic. Is 2025 a throwaway year for the 49ers? After a notably quiet offseason in free agency, with losing notable players, not garnering much, whispers of a soft rebuild have begun. With a roster shifting towards youth over experience, could the 49ers be sacrificing playoff contention this season to set the stage for a stronger run in 2026? What do you think about how they've built this year? Some of the things that you may have seen them not go after. I know that we've been hardcore on offensive line. Drew Dahlman slipped through our fingers. I believe that we were reaching for him at one point. We really haven't made any moves of starter quality guys that are going to come in for us. Maybe a couple of backups, some veteran guys. But what do you think the true mission is? You know, when Kyle starts OTAs and meets with literally the entire team for the first time, right? Rookies, vets, everybody. What do you think his mantra is going to be this year? Do you think he's going to say, hey, man, we're pushing for a championship this year? I mean, what do you think their plan is?
Oh, I think Kyle's message has to be they're pushing for a championship. I don't think you can have veterans in that room like Kittle and Warner and Trent Williams. Brock Purdy just said it over the radio last week that this is still a Super Bowl team. You got CMC. That has to be the expectation. But I think the reality is this season's super important. It's certainly not a throwaway, right? It's not like a throwaway where it means nothing. This season means a lot because this is building on the guys that are year two guys and rookies that they're going to have to rely on. This is the new coming of their core. Who's going to make it? Who's going to make the cut of the core and who is not? Right. So they have to figure this out over this season. It is super important. And I think it's important that they make the playoffs as well. I do think it's important in setting that tone for some of these young guys. You think about it, the guys that were rookies last year, they didn't make the playoffs. The expectation was to go win a Super Bowl. They heard that, but they haven't been in a playoff run. So if they go their first 2 years of their careers not making the playoffs, and then these rookies don't make the playoffs, where's the winning tone? How can you sell to a cast of 53 players, over half of them haven't seen you at your winning ways, that this is a winning organization? They have to set that tone this year, and that starts with getting in the playoffs. So I think this year is very important. But is it a throwaway in the sense that they're not a Super Bowl contending team? Yeah, I guess then it's a throwaway in that sense. But I absolutely believe that Kyle Shanahan and all those veterans are going to set the tone of, we expect to go to a Super Bowl. We expect to win a Super Bowl. And it will be super important that they actually make the playoffs to set that winning tone for these young players. Otherwise, they don't know about any of it. It's just all folklore to them.
I got to be honest with you. I love that. I think that it would be foolish for Kyle to come out here and say that it's time for them to go to that they would go to the Super Bowl. I really believe. I think that that type of message is for a team that's ready to hear that type of message. You got to be mature enough to take that message on, because what you're essentially saying is, I'm talking about the goal before we start the work, right? And sometimes in coaching, you can't give your players too much information if you don't think that they're ready for it, especially if you need them to be playing outside of themselves, really. You're going to be doing, I think that the message for Kyle moving forward into this season is redlining. I need all of you to be your best version of yourselves this year. Everyone. Every down. We'll worry about the wins later. We get way too caught up in who we playing, where that puts us, what we got to do. And I understand that was the soup that we swam in when we had the roster teaming with veterans and superstars, where in order to get a superstar excited, in order to get a veteran motivated, you got to talk about the prize, right? You got to talk about the show. Like, hey, we're doing this to win a championship. That's how you get a Christian McCaffrey going for a season. That's how you get a Debo going and a Trent Williams to come in and camp on time, right? But that's not the demographic of the team anymore. We're starting to get outnumbered by more guys that haven't been to the playoffs or haven't been to a Super Bowl. I don't even know what that even feels like, or the real road that takes on the team, more or less than we have the guys who are the veterans on the team. I think it would hurt the team more than it would help it, because what you would do is, if that was your mantra, if you're Kyle, there's about 20% of the team who that's really going to resonate with. And then there's about 5% of that 20 that's actually going to believe what he's saying, right? Outside of the other ones who have been there and said, dude, come on, man. We done been to the promised land how many times? We done been to the NFC Championship game how many times? We ain't never rocked and rolled with a roster that looks like this. Stop blowing smoke up my ass. You can lose the room if you do that with some of your most important guys. Really, I think that it would help him if he was just pragmatic and was honest and said, listen, I need all of you to bust your ass. Rookies are going to play. You're going to start, all right? And you're going to have to play hurt, and you're going to have to play past a period of football that you've never played before in your life, and you're going to have to play more games. Veterans, I need everything. All hands on deck. Grab a rook and coach him up. He's got to be somebody that understands your bedside manner, your approach to being a pro, your move to the game, right? I think that Kyle's approach to this year's season, in order for this year not to be a throwaway year, is development, right? Development, because that's what we need in order for us to even make next year's draft class matter. These guys are going to have to grow up fast. And I believe that this year, you can't be predicated on wins and losses this year. And I know that I'm going to say something that's sacrilegious, but playoffs can't matter. It's all about development. It is literally about, if I see certain guys not playing because we're trying to make the playoffs and we need development, like we've brought this up before, we're not one guy away from anything, right? We're not a player away from a Super Bowl, right? So for me, I would lean on developing a guy rather than still going to go get a guy, right? But I'm jumping ahead. That's another topic that we have. So outside of that, what do you think? How do you feel about that move with us basically trying to find a motivation for this year?
So are you saying, like the old cliche, like one step in front of the other? We're getting 10% or 1% better every day. Like
Be where
that's
your
the
feet
approach
at.
that he needs to take. Yeah.
Be
That's
where your
I mean,
feet
that's
are.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I think, but I also think that, okay, well, let me ask you this then. So when the media asks him a question, hey, coach, is this a Super Bowl team? What should he say? Day one of OTAs, if that question is proposed to him, what should his answer be in front of everybody?
We're a week one team. I want to be ready. I want to be ready for the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle week one. That's what we are. We're a week one team. I don't think there's anybody right now talking about the Super Bowl. And quite frankly, after the season that we just had last year, we need to be able to put one foot in front of the other. So that's what we are. We're a week one team.
So just be excited. We're just excited to have this opportunity ahead of us, basically.
Yeah. And what is wrong? Like, what?
Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not
Yeah.
saying there's anything wrong with that. I like
Yeah.
it. I like
A
it.
little bit of
But I
humbleness
also
will go
think
a long way.
I don't disagree with that. I do think though that there has to be some expectation set, and this is a winning organization. You at least have to set that tone. And I do think it could be disastrous if they don't make the playoffs this year. I do. I think that could be disastrous towards the future of this team because, as you said, and I agree with, the veterans are being outweighed at this point by the younger players. But if those younger players, all they know is not winning now, I think that could be a problem. I think that could be a trend that you're setting. So I do think they need to make the playoffs. Whether they talk about it or not is beside the point. But if they have this schedule and don't make the playoffs, with Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh, and Brock Purdy on this team, that's an issue. That is an issue.
Yeah. Okay. So when you put it that way, as far as expectations of what they're supposed to do, yeah, you would think that they're supposed to make the playoffs. But as far as the mantra that I would be telling the team, I just don't think that talking about the Super Bowl or deep-seated playoff positions or, like the conversation, last year, the year before last, conversations of, man, the Niners, we really got to stop playing around. We got to start fast and we got to be able to get that number one seed because that's what bit us in the ass the season before. Like that was the kind of like the talk of what was going on at that time, right? All I'm trying to say is what is the real conversation now, realistically? What should we be talking about with the team? And I understand no less than the playoffs this year because of the easy season that we have. But is it realistic to talk about the Super Bowl?
I don't think that it is, but I also think that if it's brought up for whatever reason in a team setting, that Kyle can't just be like, nah, guys. I mean, it's all about he's got too many veterans that are here that are playing football. maybe in some cases beyond what they want to, trying to win a Super Bowl. So you can't, it's a fine balance. And I don't envy the job. It is a fine balance because I guarantee you that if you put a lie detector test on Kittle and Trent and CMC and Warner, they're like, hell yeah, we're going to win a Super Bowl. Hell yeah, the
Hmm.
expectations to win a Super Bowl. And they would believe that crap. They would believe it. Whether we believe it or not is irrelevant. They would believe it. So
You
Kyle
think
can't come in.
honestly, you think they believe it,
I
Jesse?
do. I genuinely
Okay.
do. Yeah, I
Okay.
genuinely do. And I think that if Kyle came in and poo-pooed that, then that wouldn't go over very well either. So it is a fine balance.
I don't think I honestly don't think those boys think that they're going to a Super Bowl this year or even Super Bowl contention. I believe that they think that they are dangerous when they play with each other, but the way that they folded up last season, I just think I mean, okay, would you think that that's delusional?
Um, I don't know. Would it have been delusional to the Washington Commanders went into week 1 last year thinking they were a playoff team? Wouldn't you think that would have been a little delusional to believe that, hey guys, you think you're going to go to the NFC Championship? You're delusional. They
I'm
did
not.
it.
I'm all right. First of all, I love the fact that I don't want to kill your analogy, but they had a quarterback that they really believed. That's
But he was a
enough.
rookie. They
But
believe in
they really
Brock.
they
You don't think
no
they believe in Brock?
yeah, and then it took them all season to start him until everybody got hurt. That's not what I'm talking about. There's a difference between picking number 2 overall. All right, if we had the faith that we
Right
did,
now, right now, I'm saying the 49ers team that is here currently in this building,
mm,
they believe in Brock. They believe they have a guy that they can win with. They have won with him. When Jaden Daniels entered that room last year and had never taken an NFL snap, at that time, if those players to a T were like, we're going to be in the NFC Championship, you would have been like, that's delusional.
all right,
That's
okay,
delusion talking.
all right. I'll acquiesce. Yes, I would say that's a little bit too much. Yeah.
So, I mean,
All right.
I don't believe, trust me, I don't believe the 49ers are Super Bowl contenders. Like, I have said very clearly they are not that. But I can see a scenario where you've just paid your quarterback, you're getting CMC back. Ayuk is coming back at some point. Trent Williams is coming back. That those guys go, yeah, we think we can go to a Super Bowl. Yeah, I do believe that they can believe that. Whether I
Mm-hmm.
think it's delusional or not is beside the point. I think they believe that. I do.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So, listen, I understand that. I understand the pragmatic side of it and where how they get down. Let's go through a couple of super chats. So right now, our guy Sir Cash Money, howdy, Coach and Jesse. I learned how to bake sourdough bread to impress a lady I crushed on at my bakery. I had so much fun learning this new hobby that I no longer care about seeing her. Dog. Yo, my man's goaded son, with the comments.
He is. He really is.
All right, man. So we got one coming up. And I believe that I changed the topic on you a little bit. So I'm just getting it. Because I remember days. All right, here we go. My bad. All right. So here goes the next topic, my guy. Make a case for the 49ers spending their $40 million in cap space. Now, what we do know is that after a notably quiet offseason, with clear gaps remaining, especially in key veteran positions, the San Francisco 49ers are holding on to significant cap room. Is the front office too cautious, or do they have a strategic plan behind passing on stars like Amari Cooper and Von Miller? So let me know right now. We have $40 million in cap space. I love where our position is. I think that currently sits us in top 5, if not top 3, right at 3 in the NFL. Make a case for what we should do with this $40 million, or standing pat and just keeping our money.
I like the idea right now, at least, of keeping the money because this is what's so intriguing about the 2026 49ers and why I'm completely okay with how they've handled this offseason, even though it doesn't look like it's the most direct way to be competitive in 2025. I'm good with the way that this offseason has gone because I see the vision of 2026 and beyond. The moment that you go and start spending that $40 million and not rolling over a big chunk of that towards next year, a lot of that starts to go out the window and I start understanding a little bit less. However, if the 49ers get 4, 6 weeks into the season and things are looking great and they want to sign one of these veteran guys that's still hanging around and they want to go make a trade because they believe that they're in contention, then by all means, I'm with that. But at this stage in the game, when I look at players that you mentioned specifically, and it's not just them, there's guys like Jadeveon Clowney out there, what have you, uh, Gabe Davis that have been talked about. At those two positions specifically, I worry about stunting the growth of some of the younger guys that I just made a case for that have to get their feet wet and figure out how to win in this league with this team and know that this is a winning organization, because this team going forward is going to have to rely heavily on a Michael Williams. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to take snaps away from him to bring in a Von Miller or a
Mm-hmm.
Jadeveon Clowney. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to take snaps away from Ricky Pearsall or Cowing or Watkins to bring in a Cooper. That's not what I'm wanting to do because I don't believe that they're a Cooper or a Von Miller or a Clowney away from winning a Super Bowl. Now, again, if they start out hot, let's say they start out 5-1 or something, and they want to go make a trade, and it looks like, wow, these rookies have really progressed a lot faster than what we were hoping for. And some of the other second year guys have really stepped up. This team does look like a legitimate contender. I wouldn't have an issue with it then. I just think right now, stopping this or cutting off that growth before you even have an opportunity to see it would be foolish.
All right. So, what about being able to get somebody that can still pace us through, right? So, not one guy away, but a guy that can actually last, right? So, a Chase Young is a rental, right? I don't want a rental, and Amari Cooper is a rental. We're not going to get more than 1 or 2 years out of Amari Cooper, right? Von Miller, in a sense, would be a little bit of a rental, right? You don't get a Von Miller unless you need him to actually get you over the hump in a couple of games. You don't get Von Miller for a season. You get him for a reason, right? Um, but Trey Hendrickson is out there, right? At 31 years old, I mean, his cap hit right now is manageable. In 2025, his cap number is 18.6 million. He's covering only 6.5% of the cap. And I think that this wouldn't be a player that is a rental. This would be somebody that Mikael Williams could possibly play with, right? Somebody that could be rotated in. More of a Charles Omenihu type where he wasn't more of a patch, but he was a rental. Like we had him for a while. What do you think about actually pulling the trigger on somebody around that category?
No, I would be against it because first of all, you're going to pay him immediately. He's going to get a big contract the moment he walks in that door. It's the only
Right.
reason he wants to get traded because he wants to get paid. So you're going to do that. Then you're 100% starting him opposite of Bosa. You're not paying him to bring him in as the rotational player. So now you just spent the 11th overall pick on a rotational guy for the next 3 years. I think that would be a major mistake. So for me, I'm cool. I mean, Hendrickson's a good player. And I hope that he gets paid. He deserves it, dude. That guy's getting screwed over by Cincy. They're doing it with Shamar Stewart as well. It's really weird what Cincinnati does. So I hope that he gets paid. And if not, I hope he gets traded to a team that will pay him. I
Uh-huh.
just don't think that the 49ers are a fit, especially coming off of your first pick being at that same position, pick 11 overall. That wouldn't make any sense to me. Now, I will give you a name of a player that I think could be a rental, but also could end up being a long-term solution.
What you got?
And that's Asante Samuel Jr. He's out there as a free agent. He's had some shoulder issues, so at least it's not like Achilles or ACL or anything like that. Now those shoulder issues may linger. It may cause him to miss games and he may not be a guy, but right now he's going to be very inexpensive. I think at his skill set, obviously, if healthy, he's a starter on this team. He's young. He could be a contributor for a long time to come if those injuries don't linger. And if they do, you're not really out a lot. And corner is a position that they could use. If they brought in Asante Samuel Jr., I don't believe that they're stunting the growth necessarily of many, if any, players. So that would be a player that I would be in favor of.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. That's a good call, Jess. I haven't heard anybody talk about Asante Samuel Jr., man. That would be a good get. Because I saw some of the other guys that are up there like Kendall Fuller, Rasul Douglas, Stephon Gilmore. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You don't really want to make anything, but honestly, going a little bit lower down into the line, I mean, the only guy that's really available in that corner range that could really help us out would be, I hate to say it, like maybe Eli Apple. You know what I'm saying? But he's not Asante Samuel Jr. Not at all. Hasn't shown the consistency. So look, I like this, man. I understand exactly where we're going. I think for me, I don't want us to touch the money. If and when, I think that you have the $40 million for if something terribly goes wrong where we need a left tackle, right? Where you got to go get a left tackle just to save the entire season. Forget the playoffs. We can't play ball without a starting right left tackle. I like where we stand, and honestly, best case scenario for everything that we've done, we need this to roll over in the worst way. We need this money to roll over. So I like exactly where that stands. We're in agreement on this topic. I don't think that they should spend anything on it. So let's kind of move on into our next topic. Did Kyle Shanahan learn from his worst year yet? Coming off his most disappointing season at 6-11, Shanahan faces scrutiny about his leadership and adaptability. Can reuniting with Robert Saleh rekindle the disciplined, cohesive culture that propelled the team in prior years? Or will Kyle Shanahan succumb to the pressure of the season?
I don't know that it's learning per se. But I just feel like Saleh being there allows him to be in his groove and be comfortable knowing what's happening on the defensive side of the ball and allowing him to relax so that he can be at his best and focus on what he does, which is run the offense. So I I don't I don't know that he's learning a lot of tricks at this stage of his life. I think he is who he is, but he is also, and we've seen it when he has a defensive coach, man. Kyle Kyle can cook. I mean, Kyle can still get in his bag. I feel like last year he was just so sidetracked with being, what's the word, a head coach, that he couldn't do the things that he wanted to do, and I think it took away from his offense because
Oh,
he had to
so
go do those
Kyle
other
couldn't be an
things.
offensive coordinator. Is that what
Exactly.
you're saying? If it wasn't for
Yes.
the fact that coaching got in the way, Kyle would have had a good year.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
was bothered. Come on, Jess.
Yeah. I really believe that. I mean, it's not, I don't know. Kyle's fine, and Kyle can be in his bag, and I expect him to be in his bag this year. I think he's going to cook up some nice things on offense for sure. I think that this offense is going to be explosive at times, look very different than it did last year. But I think that that's not because he's learned. I think that's because Robert Saleh is on the other side and he can be comfortable and just handle his business.
Okay. So in coaching, and I know that you've seen this before too, especially with your boys, not even in coaching, in parenting, right? You got two beautiful boys, right? Dalton and Maddox. When you see them in a position where they're in their element with friends of their own, right? And they need to compete, sometimes you got to let the kids police themselves. You know what I mean? It's the Lord of the Flies, baby. Whoever's got the conch rules the conversation.
Yeah.
And for me, sometimes when you get guys who are or players or coaches in this for this instance that are a little too like into their own process, right? They're more preoccupied with how they look or how they come off to those around them rather than actually just focusing on the job. Sometimes you got to let the boys police themselves. I think that there's going to be a lot of competition on this coaching staff. If you think that Kyle Shanahan is not hell bent on outshining the preparation, the development, and the productivity of what Coach Saleh is about to do with this defense, you have got another thing coming. They can talk all of that team shit if you want to. I get it. And I understand that they love each other and they go back. But this is about money, Jack. This is about position. This is about power. And billionaires don't care about none of that stuff. They got enough money to take the highest bidder. And I want to see a good old fashioned coach off. I want to, because you know why? Because the sum of it is going to be beneficial to us. Whatever happens out of them trying to outcoach each other is going to make us better, right? And for me, I think that I'm betting on Kyle Shanahan's ego. I'm betting on the stubbornness. I'm betting on the pig-headedness. I'm betting on the short-sightedness. I'm betting on him making everything about exactly, he has everything in his perfect little position. I'm betting on all of that to come out in spades. Not because it's a 6-11 season. Not because he needs to be better. Not because we think that he needs to grow. Because he doesn't want to get out coached. He doesn't want to get outshone by Robert Saleh. And because of that, if Kyle gets out coached by the defense, if this is another defensively led team and the offense is struggling this year, then the word is out on Kyle. You let a man come in here and take your block, homie. You had a bad season. The dude left. He comes back with rookies and he still outcoached you? That's a real conversation. I believe that Kyle is going to show us the best of what he can do. He's going to make us fall in love with him again. I'm telling you, Jesse, he's not going to be embarrassed by this dude. He's not. He'll go back to asshole Kyle once we go to the playoffs and we start winning and he gets called a genius again and he'll go back. But for the first 3 quarters of this season, he's going to be on his best behavior. He's going to be coaching his ass off for the simple fact that he does not want people walking away from the game like, dude, the defense is doing their job. What's up with the O?
So let me ask you this. If you had to bet on a unit having a better season, the offense or the defense, which one do you think has a better season and why?
I would say the offense for all the reasons of the motivation with coaching, for everything that I just covered. 2, you get a healthy Christian McCaffrey back. All right. 3, you get Trent Williams back for an entire season, motivated. You also get more weapons from Ricky Pearsall, actually gets to start a whole season. I mean, the offense was very disjointed. If you look at everything that happened during the offseason, a lot of it was on the offensive side of the ball, with Trent holding out, Brandon Ayuk holding out, Ricky Pearsall getting hurt early. You know what I'm saying? Brock being inconsistent. I think that the real reason why the defense had their fair share because they literally didn't have the bodies, right? That's one thing. But on offense, they can't go anywhere but up. It's gonna be the offense.
Which one should have a better season, like on paper? Should be the offense, right?
It should be the offense.
Yeah. I mean,
they're getting back
more talent than the defense.
Yes, it should be the offense. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. So I really believe that if Kyle shits the bed this year, get him out of here. Because if this can't motivate you, what will? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if this doesn't motivate you, what will? If we get outshone by this defense with all of these rookies on it, Robert Saleh first coming in. I mean, yeah, he's been here before. He's a coach, but he is a new defensive coordinator. He's still got to get some shit off the ground. right? So it's not like things are just humming for him. So I mean, I see that. I really believe that Kyle's going to bounce back this year.
I think the best unit might be the special teams. We didn't even talk about them.
Mm,
I
I think
like,
they
but
coach.
dude, I'll tell you what, man,
You
Brent
like Boyer,
Boyer,
bro?
I
You
do,
like Brent
I
Boyer?
do, I do, bro. When I listened to him talk, I was like, all right, there. This is somebody that gives a damn about the special teams. This is the first time I get the feeling that special teams is at the forefront of people's minds. The way that he talked about it, man, that dude is passionate about special teams. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is that I really want to know what we're going to do with Jake Moody. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, if Jake Moody wasn't a draft pick, would he still be here?
No, zero chance.
Exactly. So I mean, I don't know. I don't think that I think that the reason why they're letting him fight for his job is because of the draft, because of the draft and the draft compensation that they put on him. Outside of that, we got to see exactly how they're going to move forward with him. Also, speaking of the defense, just to switch back onto the defense, there's another position that I don't think that we're highlighting enough, and really that's the weak side linebacker, Dre Greenlaw's position. As the Niners look for their next defensive counterpiece um, to Fred Warner, will Nick Martin's athletic upside or D. Winter's tenacity fill Dre Greenlaw's shoes and become the new leader of the unit? And is there a dark horse candidate that we're not looking at for this position?
Tatum Bethune. I mean, I
Yeah,
think that's the only one that might be a dark horse. I think I don't know, man. Is it me? And it seems like maybe the team doesn't believe in him, and if they don't, then I guess that it's not going to matter. But God, I really feel like D Winters can be something, man. Like I
yeah.
don't know. I watch him play, and I feel like his reckless energy, as long if it could be honed in the proper manner by Robert Sala, that they absolutely can turn him into something. I really believe that. And Nick Martin, who knows? I mean, I still think he was overdrafted, but I see the vision with him. I think he's a good blitzer, and I think there's some things he brings to the table. I'm hard pressed to like give this job year one to a rookie who wasn't drafted in round one or round two.
It just
I
doesn't make
really
sense.
It
Yeah.
doesn't. I think D Winters is going to be better than Nick Martin this year. I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go with at least initially D Winters, but the only thing that holds me back is I don't know where they stand with him. Every time they were asked about him, it was like, "Oh yeah, no, D, yeah, he's on the team." It's like, "Oh, yeah, no, we know he's
Yeah,
there."
that's
It was
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, he's gonna yeah, no, like he'll like compete with like him like seven other guys, and we got the draft, and we'll bring in another guy. It's like, okay, well, maybe they don't like D Winters. I feel like D Winters has some talent, and I see a lot of qualities that we liked in Greenlaw early on. I see that in D Winters. Not quite as good, obviously. I mean, Dre Greenlaw really did hit the ground running. Like by the end of his rookie year, he was something. But I also don't think Winters has had that coaching either. He hasn't. He's
He
not
didn't get to
blessed.
sit.
Dude,
Yeah.
Greenlaw got to play immediately after Quan Alexander went down. So he had the veteran leadership in Quan Alexander. He had Robert Sala and D'Amico Ryans. If
Holland.
D Winters had been given those guys, you don't think that he could have shown a little bit more by now? I just see a lot of the same reckless aggression that Greenlaw has and plays with that was honed perfectly. I see that with D Winters. I really do. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I like D Winters. I hope that he's given the opportunity and a fair opportunity. And I do expect that right now, year one, he will be better than Nick Martin.
I don't want to step on your points because they were all great ones. It's just for me, I believe that there's another X Factor guy who I believe is on the bubble this year, Jalen Graham. He's got to step up and show us something.
Listen, I love Jalen Graham.
That's your
I
guy.
love Jalen Graham, but
Uh huh.
I think the room is just too crowded at this point. Um, I don't know. I wish, trust me, I think he has all the ability, but there's obviously something missing from his game. And unless Salah sees differently, we'll see. But I don't know that he's going to make this team. But I do like Jalen Graham.
Well, right now, the way I see it is at the will, D would start. Strong side linebacker, that's still open too. So if you have Fred Warner and D Winters starting, right? Let's give D the weak side linebacker position. That's Dre's position. Strong side linebacker, that's still open. Now, if we still think that Nick Martin isn't the answer right away to be a rookie contributor, that's where Jalen Graham could pretty much have like a real big fight or competition with Curtis Robinson at that strong side linebacker position. So it's not all over for Jalen Graham, but he's got to show worth because I believe that that's what Nick Martin is here for. I don't think that he's here for the weak side position. I think that Nick Martin is here for that strong side. I think that he's here for the Azeez Al-Shaair position, not the Dre Greenlaw weak side linebacker. I think Tatum Bethune is here to be Fred Warner's backup.
Okay.
That's where he's here. I think that Tatum has shown us enough to be here where we need somebody to be Fred, to have Fred's back. I think that Tatum Bethune is going to be Fred's backup or maybe possibly Curtis Robinson. But we don't know what Curtis Robinson is because he got hurt again. That's how he left us. So I don't know what he is as far as his athleticism is concerned. But really, all roads lead to Jalen Graham. I believe that our top 4 guys, as far as linebackers are concerned, obviously Fred Warner, D Winters, Tatum Bethune, and then you would have to throw in Nick Martin. So with that mix, if Jalen Graham doesn't step up and Tatum Bethune is backing up Fred Warner, then Nick Martin has no choice but to start. Right? Unless Curtis Robinson takes over, right? Luke Gifford isn't going to be a starter, right? So, but oh, I thought you were going to say something.
No, I wasn't, but they're bringing up Stone Blanton in the chat.
Yeah, well, Stone Blanton is a middle linebacker as well, and I think that he would be backing up Tatum Bethune. I don't think Stone Blanton
is a football movie name for a linebacker. If there ever was one.
Oh my God! You know it's what's my boy off of Remember the Titans? You can never replace a Richard Bertier. It's a perfect football name.
Strong, you know what I'm saying? Side.
Strong side. Well, that side. No, we are not. Dog, you're white. I'm black. We're not going to replay that. We were about to walk right into that. We're not doing that. Let's move on. Let's move on into some super chats, man. You almost got me for a second, you motherfucker. You almost got me. You reeled me in, but I caught your ass. Joseph Uberberg, 199. Thank you. Should the Niners tank this season? Would it be worth it? No. I think we're exactly where we need to be right now. We've got 2 strong drafts. You know what the dirty little secret is about the NFL? Because I got friends, as we all do, friends who are fans of teams all over the league. Everybody wants to see us get ours. Everybody wants to see the Niners have that 5-year sustained shitstorm of non-relevancy because of we cooked the books on Trey Lance. We got rid of Jimmy G. Then right when everybody thought that we were DOA, we got saved by Brock Purdy. Then they had to put up with all of this Brock Purdy mania for the past 3 years. And then we didn't even get it done. Then on top of it, we lay an egg the last season and everybody, dude, our laundry is out in the street. Okay? Our business is out in the street and the league wants to see us. That's why I love what we're doing because the rest of the fans of the NFL, they think that we should be under the basement as far as football karma is concerned with all of the blunders and all of the opportunities that we've blown in the leads. So no, this season is worth it. I would love it if we made the playoffs because a lot of people will be pissed off that we're even in the discussion. Sean, 1999, thank you. I hear you, Coach, but we've been here before. Salah's been out coaching him since day one. Hell, everyone out coaches Kyle, at least from a head coach perspective. Play calling, maybe not. Kyle makes egregious decisions as a coach. Cooked. I agree. Papa 499. Was that Packers game when Dre sealed the game. Hard to believe that it ended up being one of his last full games as a Niner. Football moves fast. It does, man. Who would have known that we were watching that Packers game? That was the last time we were going to watch a full Dre Greenlaw game. I mean, it does, bro.
Well, no, we got him versus Detroit, right? He played versus Detroit, and then
yes,
it was the Super Bowl that he got hurt. So we got one more game. I was at his last full game. Well, yeah, because technically he came back this year, but he didn't even make it through the whole game. So yeah, I was at the NFC Championship. I saw his last full game. That sucks, dude. I mean, golly, dude.
It was crazy, bro.
That one hurts because
Dre hurts.
Supposed to be. He's supposed to be a
10-year guy. Dre Green. I feels like losing Dre makes you feel like we lost a real family member. Like we lost somebody that was truly a part of our culture. That one hurts. Dre being gone hurt. But let's just close out with this one. We got OTAs coming up. I'm excited for it. What you got coming up for this week? We got 4-man front on Grant's channel.
Tomorrow. I'm like thrown off. Today's Monday. I keep feeling it feels like it's Sunday because we had the long weekend. Yeah, tomorrow on Grant's channel, 4-man front. Yep.
Tomorrow on Grant's channel. Hey man, it's gonna be a good one. We had a good one. Hey, this is the coach, Jesse Naylor. Stay low and keep your feet moving. I'll talk to you guys. Peace.